Oh, hello. Hello. I'm just doing something real quick. Oh, just getting this, getting that, making sure, the apartment's still, on the ground and not up in flames or something. Oh, I'm coming over. I'm coming over. I'm coming over. Hi. Well, welcome to the revamped GregsynthVlog. And I promise from now on, this will be a regular thing, once a month, usually on a concert anniversary. So I'm sorry for the huge long wait. It's been several months, probably over a year at this point. I haven't gone back and really checked the dates, but I promise that will not happen again. I got myself in a better place, better scheduling. Now I know what I'm doing. I'm more organized. Everything's better. So we will be returning to the GregsynthVlog once a month program. And glad you've been enjoying the fairly recent uploads of about a month ago, like the Detroit 77 show, and that sheer heart attack thing from Frankfurt. Glad to see the comments on there. And speaking of comments, I got a certain subscriber who I believe is from South Korea who is leaving tens of thousands of comments on every single video, and I cannot keep up with this user. And I believe this user also asked me some questions for the vlog here, which is 7 pages, and hopefully I don't butcher the name. So, yeah. Speaking of that, I have 7 pages of questions here from people who I'm very familiar with. Some are brand new. Some are names I have seen but not really have interacted with. I've gotten, one question, 2 questions from some people, 10 questions from other people, 50 from another, and it's just, man, you people are fucking crazy. Seriously. Hey, he'll answer any question. Well, you're right about that. Because what's written on all of these pages are questions I will answer right in this vlog. And if you regret ever writing me these questions, well, too bad, because they will be answered. And, oh, it feels good to be back. And I may go hoarse or something during this video because I can tell it's going to be a long, long, long video with all these questions. I may have to go grab some medicine for my throat or something. I don't know. I got 2 liters of medicine here, and I got more in the fridge. So, we're all set and ready to do this now. I'm not going to waste any more time with the mindless babble. All right, we will start with the first person on the list here. User is This Is Sparta 789789. That's a nice name. And asks a couple questions. First one is, what do you think was the worst sounding bootleg recording you ever uploaded in terms of audio quality? Sound quality wise, it has to be Glasgow 74. Oh, you know, distorted, clipping, can't tell the instruments, can't tell the music unless you like really, really know the material, and it's so horrible. And I tried to fix some of it, but it still sounds like absolute garbage. It's likely the worst quality Queen recording caught on audio that's circulating. Who knows? Maybe there's something worse out there, but that's probably the absolute worst one. A nominee for second place would be Sao Paulo 81, the second night. Yeah, that's pretty bad too. Distorted, clipping, muffled. Shame. It's such a great show, but that quality just kills me. And the quality that you hear on my upload is not the original one. My dear friend TSS Killer tried his best to fix it, and it does sound better than the original. And so that's letting you know how bad the original was, because the original one was like so unlistenable. It makes me want to cry just thinking about it. But yeah, those two come to mind for worst sounding recordings that are uploaded. And then the second part of this question, or the second question, is how about in terms of the band itself? Worst sounding recording of the band. Well, if it's audio quality wise, I would still say those two. But if you're talking performance wise, now you're probably thinking, oh, he's gonna say, like Japan '79. But the thing is, despite Freddie being absolutely shot on that tour, the band are top notch. They play amazingly. They make up for his shortcomings. They improvise. Musically, they're on the ball. If there's one thing about that Jazz Live Killers tour that you cannot, criticize, it's the musicianship and the tightness. And 99% of the time, the band were on the ball that tour. So, it's a great tour musically, but vocally, it wasn't the best for Mr. Mercury. Um, but for the performance wise, I would probably say like Dallas '78 maybe, because band are rusty. First show of the Jazz tour. Mistakes left and right, forgetting lyrics. Confusion on the set list. Roger drumming the wrong song in the wrong spot. I mean, the list goes on. And very messy show overall. And then another one that kind of is in that category would probably be bits and pieces of maybe like Himeji '76, because, well, you got Freddie not sounding great, and then you got flubs from like Roger and the band, but that can be kind of excused because bands are crazy. First time they're playing the opera stuff in Japan, so a lot of nerves. But there's some really questionable performances on that Japanese opera tour. Um, and then another really bad one. Well, I wouldn't say bad, but kind of more uninspired would be the second Zork show of '82. Not necessarily a terrible show, but it's just their band kind of just running through the songs, wants to get off the stage. Not too much going on there. It's just a band that's on the stage performing the songs. They drop, Liars dropped, and the solo sections drop for Brian, and the show is shorter, and they're not their tightest, and Freddie isn't in his best voice, so it's kind of a letdown from the first show. I mean, the first show isn't spectacular by any means, but it's got some funny things going on, and Freddie being goofy on songs and stuff. So I can take the first show with some charm, but the second one is just uninspired, but it has its comedy moments, so I go back and listen to it. And then in parentheses, Sparta wrote, I bet Glasgow '74, and any show on the Japanese leg of the Jazz tour would be in the top five for both categories. Well, he's right about Glasgow, that's for sure. And then for the Japanese leg, yeah, okay, Freddie's top five worst, but the band is amazing, and the sound quality is not too bad on any of those recordings, with the exception of like the first Sapporo show. Everything else is listenable to like excellent. So there we go. Thank you, Sparta. And the next person is somebody who's been coming into their own as a great subscriber and user. He was on the Facebook page, but he like deactivated his Facebook account for some reason, and Skype account and stuff, but he's still on YouTube, and he's still commenting on all the Somebody to Love performances, because that's the song he's identified with. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. MC Sandy Sandman decided to send me a question, and I will read you his question. It is, what are your thoughts on Champions from Detroit '77? Good question. That Detroit show, I love that show. Great musically, considering it's early in the tour. Freddie sounds marvelous. The Champions is very good and very gutsy overall. Some great phrasing displayed by Freddie in the first choruses. The third chorus has that infamous, experimentation with the vocal cords. But, apart from that, it's a really good version. I just love how Freddie sings that first chorus. It's nailed so well. And then you got the Four Losers phrasing in the first two choruses. It's just a great version of the song. I mean, Man, I wasn't expecting it to be sung like that at that part of the tour. I was thinking, maybe it's going to be a little bit more conservative, or Stockholm '78 would be the best of the choruses, but no, um, that show totally surprised me. And the best part is, as good as Detroit is overall, both the show and that Champions, there is an existing tape. It's said to exist from a few shows before, Providence '78, and maybe that gig has some big surprise on it, because I was surprised as hell with Detroit. Hopefully that surfaces, because I would love to hear that. And yeah, that's what I think about Detroit's. We have the Champions. And then Mr. Sandman decides to add something to this. Says, also give us a full in-depth review of Gothenburg, 1982. Sure. I don't have the full recording as of yet. Mr. Asher still has it. He's working on improving the sound, remastering it, and making it very good. But what I do know is that, from what I've heard of this gig, it's a very interesting gig. The set list is all scrambled up, and it's a weird hot space set list. They attempt body language, but it didn't go over well with the Swedish crowd. Tie Mother Down sounds weird. It sounds like a jazz tour version. Play the Game sounds fun. Very loud audience recording, kind of distorted in spots, but you can make out the fine details. And I wish I could comment more on it, but I don't have enough material really to do a really big in-depth review. But what I do know is that he tells me it's an excellent gig, so I'll have to take his word for it. So that's the best I can do with Gothenburg '82. Maybe I'll upload it on my YouTube channel and really talk about it, and when I get the recording from Asher. So thank you, MC Sandman. Next person writes these questions. Is it safe in the city to love in the doorway and wrangle some screams from the door? Nobody but Mr. Dave, a.k.a. Mr. Mario Dave, would write a question like that. And to answer that question, yes, it is safe. His second question is, can you give Boo Boo Kitty a good hug from me? Well, if he was here, he definitely would give you a nice big hug. Sadly, about 2 weeks ago, he passed away. Way too young. He was 5 years old. Loved that cat, and I still miss him to death, and still trying to get over it. But he was a good cat, and he would take hugs from anybody as long as you give him treats, and scratch his back, and play around with him. So he was a good cat, and one of these days I'll ask Boo Boo Kitty about getting hugs from people. So yes, I'll tell him. The third question: have you ever listened to In the Court of the Crimson King? No, I have not, but maybe I'll check it out. Question 4: what is your opinion on salted peanuts? Love them. 5: are you or are you not a Black Star? Well, I love Black Star. That's one of my favorite David Bowie albums that I've had heard. Very interesting album. Love the avant-garde experimentation. So yes, I am a Black Star. Question 6: is love a sweet thing, or is it a very, very naughty bad thing? Well, it depends. It depends on the person. It depends on the mood. It depends on the variables. It depends on the day of the week, the hour, the month, the year, everything. It can be something very, very lovely and sweet, and everything is nice and great. And then some other days it can be horrible. It can be naughty, bad. It's like playing roulette. So that's what I think of that. And then question 7: can you sing the Lumberjack song for me? I really don't have the Monty Pythonisms to pull off that song, so sorry about that. But I'm sure someone on YouTube has sung the song and will do it and stuff. But I just don't have Monty Python's sense of humor, and I just don't have enough Britishisms in me to do that song justice. So I can't do it. I'm sorry. And ends the questions with kind regards, Mr. Mario Dave, European Lumberjacks Association. Thanks, Dave. Then the next user, we have the name of Eli, who was kind enough to explain the pronunciation of this username by typing out the word Elysium. So thankfully I did not butcher that name too bad, because if I did, then I'll get a bunch of angry messages. And by the way, if I do butcher your username or your name here, I apologize. Please correct me in the comments, because I hate getting people's names wrong or saying them wrong. So please let me know in the comments. All right, Eli gives me a variety of questions. First being more of a best version type of songs, and I'm going to go through them. User wants to know the best version of "Keep Yourself Alive" from the early days, from 73 to 76. Well, as my refrigerator goes off, because, well, it's keeping all my drinks cold, so I may need one during this question and answer session / vlog. The best version to keep yourself alive, I think, from the early days would probably be Glasgow 73, because they're on fire, youthful energy, Freddie sounds great, and I just love hearing those early gigs from the band. They sound so like we're ready to take over the world, and they play their asses off. It's an awesome version, and you know that's the one I'll nominate from the early days. I really love that version a lot. And the next song in the list is the best version of "You Take My Breath Away." It is Edinburgh 76 by far. Shame the audio quality is nowhere near as good as the performance. That performance is one of Freddie's best from the era, with him nailing most of the falsetto and doing the soft tone very well, and showcasing some great dynamics. And I just love that performance. The Hyde Park version is good as well. Not nearly as good as Edinburgh, but those two versions are still far better than any of the 77 versions. So if you heard the first two versions, that's all you need to hear, because the ones from 77 are nowhere near as close and nowhere near as good as those two 76 ones. But yeah, Edinburgh 76 is my vote for that. The best version of "Save Me" has to be an early version, at least vocally. I nominate the first Newcastle from the Crazy Tour, because of the very clean singing by Freddie Mercury. You know, no macho stuff, no borderline too belty yelling, good dynamics. Most of the melody lines are sung exactly like the record. And even though Brian doesn't do the solo like the record, he started doing that from Zurich 80 onwards, it's still melodic, and it sounds nice, and it's in the key, and it's different, and it's, you know, primitive compared to the real solo, but it works. And you know, I love that version of the song. It's amazing. Only fault is John Deacon playing that goddamn wrong bass note in the first chorus. Oh man, I just want to, like, I don't know, throw his bass off the stage or something for that. But I nominate that one. That amazing version. The best version of the Prophets song. Vocally, I would say the first Liverpool version from 75. It's the most stable vocally. Freddie sounds like the record tonally, although, you know, of course he's clipping notes and phrases, but he does that on all the other versions. But he gets really close to the record in spots. And it's not as creative as later versions, because being the first version, he keeps the, you know, vocal solo shorter, which, you know, I can understand that. For creativity, later 76 ones, like, you know, the Boston one's good. And even in the Japan ones, some of the better Japan ones, like the Tokyo version from March 31st, is really good. Vocals are solid, very creative singing by Freddie in that middle section. And, you know, harmonies are good. So I would say vocally Liverpool, and then for the music creativity and the improv stuff, I would probably say later 76 ones, like that Tokyo version from 331, and the Boston one's really good. So I'm pretty set on those. The best version of "Need Your Lovin' Tonight," that is Oakland 1980. Freddie nails the vocal just like the record. Everything's there. Amazing performance. Only real fault with that one is he swaps two lines around. But considering the notorious problem of making up words to the song, I can forgive that. So I would go with Oakland. Best version of the Millionaire Waltz. Lots of good versions throughout its short time on the stage. Mostly from the News of the World tour. Really good one is the Detroit version with clean singing by Freddie and Brian doing very good on his solo section and keeping a tight composure on the guitar. That's a version I nominate for being one of the best versions. Um, Best version of Love Kills. Okay, since there's no live version that Queen or Freddie did, I'll have to probably go with studio versions here. Let's see. The Forever version's interesting, but I would take the original solo version Freddie did in '84. That's the version I'm used to. Yes, it's cheesy sounding. It's Euro pop, Euro disco, synth pop, but it's cheesy and it's dated sounding, but it's got a charm about it. And Freddie sounds godly on it, so I would pick the original version from '84 over it. Um, and let's see, what else we got here? Okay, so there's the best versions of songs, at least what I think. And then the second part of this Eli question, thought little statement thing, is the thoughts on stuff. So I'm being asked my thoughts on tours and gigs and albums. Thoughts on the Japan '75 tour. Well, I think it's a great tour. First tour of Japan. The band are musically on point. Freddie sounds pretty good overall, unlike some notorious future legs that when they go to Japan. The set lists are different each night, which is nice. I love all those gigs. Even the Nagoya 2-song gig with the chest wig destroying Freddie's confidence and stuff. That gig is good. So I love the Japan '75 tour. And then I'm asked about specific thoughts on the Kakagawa gig from April 29th, 1975. I think that's a great show. Very tight overall. One of the stronger shows from that leg. And I really love it. I would probably, on a tier system, I would probably give it probably a tier 3. So it's a great show. And it has some standout moments. So I love that show. As for my thoughts on Day at the Races, love that album, a worthy successor to A Night at the Opera, and to me, the last truly excellent from front to back Queen album. And I know some people are probably scratching their heads or probably pissed off at me or something and stuff, but I'll explain. Queen's first 5 albums, from Queen 1 through to Day at the Races, I don't think have a single bad song on them. Yes, there are songs I like more than others. There are some songs that may be considered pleasant filler or killer filler, but no truly bad song, at least in my view, on those first 5 albums. Love all of them. From News of the World onwards, you'll start to get some stinkers on the album, But for the most part, I think Queen did do some really great stuff after Day at the Races. I love most of the tracks on News of the World. I think Jazz has some great stuff. The Game's solid. Hot Space has its moments, and even The Works. That I see that album slammed a lot, but I think that's got some cool stuff on it. And even my least favorite Queen album, A Kind of Magic, has at least 3 or 4 great songs I put into rotation. I'm on a playlist all the time. And Miracle I was disappointed with, but it has its moments. And Innuendo, good overall. Some of Freddie's best singings on that album. And then Made in Heaven, it's patchwork. It's debated whether it's a true Queen album or not because of the way it was made, but I think it's good for what it is. So, all in all, I think A Day at the Races is an excellent album, and to me at least, the last truly excellent Queen album from front to back. What a great album. And then I asked my thoughts on Long Away. Great song. I love it. Love the charm about it. Love the kind of the mellow, folky kind of vibe on the song, and nice vibe. I love that song. And then ask about You Take My Breath Away. One of my favorites off Day at the Races. Love Freddie's sweet voice, the dynamic voice. The falsetto was amazing. One of my favorite songs off of Day at the Races. I wish it was just vocal and piano without, kind of the effects and stuff. But it is what it is. I love it. Especially that Edinburgh '76 version. And then I'm asked, what are my thoughts on Queen 1 as a whole? I think it's a great debut. The heaviest Queen album overall. Um, a lot of great gems on there. You know, you got your Keep Yourself Alive, but you know, you got Liar on there, and you know, even the little short Seven Seas of Rye has its charm, and Jesus, even though that's a filler track, at least to me, I still like it. And it's a great album overall, a great debut. Some Zeppelin and Sabbath influence throughout, and it's their heaviest album. And if you're a fan of hard rock or heavy metal, I would probably recommend that album to kind of start your Queen listening days. If you want to listen to Queen, I would definitely pick that one first. And then Queen 2. Oh, that's my second favorite album of the band. Close behind Night at the Opera. Love that album. Has some of my all-time favorite Queen songs on there. A nice, you know, experimental, progressive, you know, quasi masterpiece. And you know, I love the different variations and stuff. I love the backing vocal stuff, and this is, you know, where the band's coming into their own. I just love that album. Second favorite of all time, and it ranks very very high for me. And then I'm asked about what I think of Sheer Heart Attack. Very diverse album, their most diverse coming up to that point, but it's my least favorite out of the first five. Not because I think it's bad or anything, it's just not as good as the other four. There's still some great stuff on there. I love In the Lap of the Gods and In the Lap of the Gods Revisited, The Poppy Killer Queen, and you know, Now I'm Here is great. And it's just, you know, it's a great album, very diverse. Couple fillery tracks towards the end, but it's still not that bad. But yeah, very solid album, good album overall, great even. And then I'm also asked, and the last question on that is, what's your favorite song from Freddie's Mr. Bad Guy? Um, I would have to say probably I Was Born to Love You. You know, I love it. I love, you know, the quirkiness of it. It's a fun, silly, you know, pop song. Great vocals by Freddie. You know, the synthesizers and stuff kind of give it this like campy, cheesy, fun effect. But hey, it is what it is. Hey, it's Mr. Bad Guy. It's what a listen experience that album is, and Mr. Bad Guy is probably my favorite out of all the tracks. And you know, I love that song, and I think Queen did a good remake of it on Made in Heaven. Although for its charm and silliness, and because it was the first version I heard, I would listen to Freddie's original over the Made in Heaven version. So thank you, Elysium, aka Eli. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too bad. Next person is Ratford, who asked two questions, and you know, kind of bits and pieces of parts in these questions. So I'll start with the first one. What's the worst and the best gig from the Magic Tour and from the News of the World Tour? Well, I'll start with the Magic Tour since that was asked first. Worst gig, probably Zurich, '86. Freddie sounding very weak on stage, and it kind of takes away from the listening experience to hear powerful vocals, and instead you'll hear weak vocals and you know, struggling at times and not a very pleasant tone in spots. Best gig, overall I would probably say probably the second Leiden show. Third gig on the tour. The band sounds tighter than the last two. Freddie sounds great. Some of his best performances come from that gig. The crowd is amazing on that show. Drowns out the band in the recording. Clapping along to everything. It's a great gig. I'd also like to give a nominee to also Brussels is also great. And then, you know, the first Vienna is also amazing too. Third Line's also amazing. So, you know, there's a couple nominees there. And then we go to the News of the World section. The worst gig, well, from a tour where there's no bad gigs at all and a very consistent great tour. If I had to pick something that's a little bit weaker than the others, I would probably pick Zurich. You know, kind of a funny coincidence here. Zurich 78 because Freddie just sounds tired. He sounds good starting off, but about halfway through, around the It's Late part, he kind of blows his voice a bit, sounds really tired, and struggles through the rest of the set a bit, but it's not too bad. But that's the worst offense about the gig. Everything else is fine. Best gigs. Let's see. You have those London 78 ones. The first night is horrific quality, but the performances are amazing. And what we have of 513 is great. You have your Stockholm and Copenhagen's, where Fred's on fire. Band is also pretty good. A little bit slightly rusty in spots, but hey, overall very good. Berlin is a great show too. Freddie sounds good. The band is really tight. I love that show. And then nominees to Detroit 77 for the amazing vocal performance by Freddie, and Philadelphia for the all-around good performances and the amusing crowd talking around the taper. And so there we go. There's your nominees and picks there. And then question 2 is, which next concert do you think will be officially released? Well, I don't have my crystal ball at the moment, but what I do have is this crystal bottle of medicine. And while I was soothing my throat with that medicine, it was telling me that whenever the next official release will be, it'll be a 70s show, because we've had so much 80s stuff. I mean, we had the Queen on Air disaster, quite frankly, with the snippets of live stuff, which I think is stupid. Why not put the whole thing out there? And the hilarious part is the quality on those is the same pretty much as what is freely available for you to download on Queen Zones, which is like, what a waste of effort. Come on, at least put the full gig on there if you want to, or do something. I don't know, but we've had enough Magic releases. I like the Magic tour, but we've got the 2 Wembley shows. We got Budapest, we got Live Magic, and I'm fine with the Magic tour. We need some 70s stuff. I want some, News of the World stuff, even Live Killers stuff. I mean, the band are amazing there. Come on, give us a box set of, Paris, and put Hammy 79 on there, as a, bonus or something. That'd be a release right there. So, which I don't know exactly what concert will be officially released, because I don't have my crystal ball, but I think it'll be a 70s show. My bet is Live Killer / Hammersmith. And if I'm right, then everybody who follows me will have to send me this. And if I'm wrong, then I will eat more of that insanity sauce and cry and eat a hat and drink beer or something on a video or something. So, you're on. Thank you, Radford. Next person says, I have one question, Greg. Did you ever pay for getting a concert that you wanted? Thanks. Well, Mr. Alberto Ballesteros, I'm sorry if that's butchered. No, I have never paid, in terms of Queen, no. Everything that's on my channel, gig-wise, is from Queen Zone. I've never paid anything to put on my channel. Although, as a technicality, I have paid for a Live Aid bootleg at a Queen convention, where it was a kind of like a mono version of the broadcast. Now that, I paid $5 or so for that, and I put it on YouTube. So technically, yes, I did. But that version was rendered obsolete by a much more superior version of it. So that got taken off YouTube, and then I put it back up in a better format. Thank you, Owen Smith, for that. But in terms of Queen and all those downloads on Queen Zone, no, I've not paid for any of that stuff. In terms of Elton John, we're going off topic. Yes, I have. I've paid stuff to get shows in my collection to put on YouTube. So in terms of Elton, yes. In terms of Queen, no, with the exception of the obsolete Live Aid bootleg. Thank you, Alberto. Now we go to page 2. And all of page 2 is consumed by one user, asking me a grand total of 26 questions, because it's all on here and then the first few lines on the next page. So, Mr. Tony Salvo, your questions will be answered starting now. And after this, I may need a throat operation. So, Mr. Salvo, your first question is it true that Hammy 79 is in a lower key? It seems compared to the jazz shows that the instruments sound a tad bit lower, or it could be due to tape problems. No, nothing was transposed at all. That might have been either because of the tempo, maybe the band were playing a bit faster on certain gigs compared to other gigs, or it could be, it most likely probably was the tape speed, probably because there's some gigs that have like a fluctuating tape speed, or it's jumpy or something. But no, nothing was transposed. Any speed or tempo fluctuations would be either from the band playing slower, setting the tempo, or the tape playing too fast or too slow. But in terms of transpositions, no, nothing was changed. Question 2. Is it true all versions of Sheer Heart Attack are in a lower key? And is it true that the We Will Rock You medley from the late 82 North American shows are in a lower key? No, Sheer Heart Attack was not in a lower key, but there's a very speed thing going on the studio version, which plays it back faster. But it's in the same key live as it is on the record. It's the same thing with Another One Bites the Dust, you know. It's an E, but it was sped up in between E and F for the record. But it wasn't transposed. For the We Will Rock You medley, yes and no. The We Will Rock You bit is not transposed, but the Rocket is, because it's in B originally on the studio version, and when it was played in 80 and 81. But for the 82 Hot Space shows, it was lowered a full step down to make it easier for Freddie to sing and ensure that the start of the show goes smoothly. So yes, the Rocket was played a step down. The We Will Rock You snippet that goes at the end of that was not. So kind of a mix there. And then question 3. I hear you are a fan of Todd Rundgren. I am a fan as well. Are there any favorite Todd Rundgren Utopia albums you like? Yes, I am a fan of Todd Rundgren. I am still collecting his material, slowly but surely. I do not have any Utopia albums yet, though I have heard of them, and I've heard of certain songs here and there. Out of the stuff I have for Todd Rundgren, my favorite album that he's done is A Wizard, A True Star. I love that album. It's experimental, psychedelic, electronic. It's so off the wall, ridiculously fun to listen to. So many different genres and moods. I love it. Todd Rundgren is, to me, a genius. I mean, he produces all of his stuff by himself. He plays all the instruments by himself, you know, on a lot of this stuff. And, I mean, very clever, very smart guy, intelligent, funny, you know, a master musician, singer-songwriter, great producer, all-around amazing person, and a genius. And I would say that's my favorite of his releases that he's done. And then question 4 is, what do you think of Steve Walsh doing the classic rock concerts with other musicians they did last year in Europe and in the U.S.? Well, from what I did see, I haven't seen too many of his performances in recent years, but what I will say is he has been sounding a little better. I thought he was starting to sound really worn and weak on his last years with Kansas, but I think being away and ridding himself of the burden and stuff and more space in between, I think he's sounding a little bit more solid, more confident, more relaxed, and he's doing stuff in the original keys now because he tuned down with Kansas in his last years, but now they're back in the original key. I saw a recent Carry On Wayward Son and Dust in the Wind from, I think it was from like a German show, and he sounded good. I mean, not 1976 Walsh good, but better than I expected and better than the last few years that he sung it. So what I have seen, I was, you know, pretty impressed, and I give him props. And I think it's great that he's out there still doing stuff at his own pace and not being burdened, and, you know, I'm glad he's in a better place. And I think he's an underrated talent, and in his prime he was an amazing singer and a hell of a keyboardist. So all props to Steve Walsh. Question 5. Why did Queen cancel the 75 August shows in North America? And do you wish that the Queen's 75 August shows would have happened? Well, they canceled that because, in between the Sheer Heart Attack tour and the opera tour, obviously they took some time off. Then they were set to make a Night at the Opera, and this was the make it or break it album. If this album failed, Queen would split up because Killer Queen brought them some success worldwide and stuff, but it's not enough to be globally massively successful. So this album was make it or break it. And while they were doing this, management decided to book this tour in North America, and it consisted of arena gigs. Like 8 days in a row, 9 days in a row. You're gonna kill Freddie's voice doing that, and the Queen were not popular enough to fill up the arenas at that point. They were at this point doing theaters, and they filled the theaters, but not enough for the arenas. They started doing that on the Races tour. So that was an ill move there, and thankfully they got canceled because it wouldn't have worked well. The band should have stayed as they did, rightfully so, in that studio making the best goddamn record ever that they'd done, and they did. And it was, that's my favorite Queen album that they've done, and it's an amazing record. A 10 out of 10, easy for me. So I'm glad that those shows were canceled because it would have thrown off their focus, and it probably would have caused a lot of turmoil and drama on the road. Probably would have killed the band if they would have booked that tour. So I'm glad it was canceled. Question 6. Good question, by the way. Question 6. What do you think of Paul Stanley's voice on the European 2017 tour, and do you think we'll see any more Kiss shows in the future? Well, here's the thing. Paul's voice, totally done. It's totally shot. I thought he sounded terrible at the shows I went to in 2012 and 2014, and it sounds worse today. Nothing remains of his amazing voice. It's croaky. It sounds horrible. Ugh, it's like it's a pain to listen to, both on my eardrums and psychologically, because Paul Stanley in his prime was one of my favorite singers. He had an amazing range, great tone, great control, an amazing live singer. He was super consistent. He just got better and better and better and better throughout the years, and then the rug got pulled out from under him, and his voice started going down, and then it's at rock bottom now. Oh, it sounds terrible. And will I see any more Kiss shows in the future? Good question. I'm on the ice. It's on thin ice. I'm right in the middle here because I have seen them 3 times in the past, and I enjoyed the shows, regardless of, the state of Paul's voice. But, I don't know if I'll enjoy it now, but then again, if I'm having fun in the live environment, I won't notice it as much, if I'm not paying as much attention to it. But, I'll notice it on the recording or something. But maybe I'll see him again, maybe not. I'm kind of, right in the middle there. Question 7. What do you think of the song Best of Both Worlds from Robert Palmer? And do you think it's better than the Van Halen song of the same title? Well, yeah, Robert Palmer's song is a lot better than Van Halen's because the Van Halen's song sucks. It's just, I don't know. It has some decent bits in it, but I cannot stand Sammy's incoherent wailing in the chorus, and it's super cheesy. It could have been probably a good song, but don't like it at all. So yeah, Palmer's version beats it. Question 8. What period do you think Roger Taylor and Brian May sounded the best? And when do you think they started to decline with their singing voice? Well, that's a good question. Because it's very difficult for me to answer that because, believe it or not, I have not yet collected solo stuff from Roger and Brian because I want to get the Queen stuff out of the way, and then I want to get more familiar with the live stuff before I start uploading and talking about it and stuff. But so I'm going off kind of on what I know from the Queen stuff and the Queen and Adam Lambert stuff because I went to those shows, 3 of them, and I'm seeing them again this year. But so I'm using limited data that I know. So I'm probably going to be wrong on this, and feel free to correct me in the comments and talk about it. And excuse me for just a second. So sorry about that. It was just my sister texted me to tell me that her fat ass beagle's 42 pounds. That's what interrupted this. A fat beagle. And well, her dog is cute. I will give her that. Her name's Fallon. So maybe I'll put a picture of her, right in the right in the vlog, and show a nice big picture of Fat Fallon just to show you this dog. But she's a great dog. Where the hell was I? Oh, I don't even know where the hell I'm at here. Okay, okay, about Brian Rogers' voice. Um, from the limited data I have here and my limited knowledge there on their voices and their vocal timelines, I think Roger sounded the best in his early days of Queen. First few albums, and starting from I would say about 76 going into 77, the range starts slipping because of all the cigarettes, trying to do the 39 high harmonies live and missing them and stuff, and then that's why the harmonizer had to take over. So I would say Rogers peaked early and then slowly started to fall, although he remained a great singer. He just lost that supersonic, really high voice, and he still sounds good today. Obviously the top end is not what it was, but within his limits now, he still sounds really good. So, I give him props on retaining a decent amount of his abilities. Um, and it hasn't weakened really that much. He's just lost range. For Brian, I think he had a nice, somewhat thin, slightly nasally voice, but it was a nice, pleasant tone. Kind of McCartney-ish, kind of gentle sounding, which are voices I like. Um, and he had a nice voice through his Queen years. And on his solo stuff, he started to push his voice really high up there. And I think as good as he sounded on like Back to the Light and Another World, I think doing that kind of stuff where he was singing a lot more lead and kind of putting his voice much higher kind of may have set the stage, because his voice, out of the three singers, the main singers for Queen, Brian's was, very clean and nice sounding, but it was probably the weakest voice in terms of, I would say, maybe resonance and strength. Because when you hear him now, he still sounds like Brian May, which is great. And he doesn't sound horrible, but he sounds thinner now and a lot weaker now compared to what he used to. And it's a little bit more fragile sounding, if that makes sense. And both of their voices, Rogers and Brian's, have not yet got really bad yet. So they still sound, at least to me, respectable, but steps down from what they used to be. It's nothing like the Paul Stanley drama. So I still think they have some chops left, although they're not what they used to. A good question, by the way. Question 9. Is it true that all the Journey Prime era concerts featuring Steve Perry from 78 to 87 are in the original key? I thought I heard that the Journey Comiskey Park show from August 9th of 79 might be in a different speed, or could be a tape speed problem. For what I know about the Journey stuff, they never tuned down or altered the keys on the songs live when Steve was with them through the years. So on those tapes, it's the speed going all crazy and going too fast or too slow. The keys were lowered when Steve Perry went solo on his For Love of Strange Medicine tour. He brought everything down half a step. But with his 10-year journey, he did not lower any of the song keys. Um, and then, let's see, question 10. What do you think of Todd Rundgren's singing voice these days? I think he's still a great singer at the age of nearly 69, even though his voice is more baritone sounding for the last 10 years or so. Yeah, I still think he sounds great. It's a very different voice than, 40 some years ago. It's no longer high and light and feminine. It's got more girth to it, more manly, much more baritone sounding. I do agree with that. And there's a lot more like resonance in his voice. And to me, he still sounds great. Different voice, but it's a very effective voice, and he still sings stuff like "Hello, It's Me" very well. We're doing the falsettos. And when he did back in 2009, he did this tour for A Wizard of True Star. He sang, Zen Archer live, you know, with the falsetto and everything, just like the record. I mean, the voice deeper, but the falsetto was still there. So I think he still sounds great. Different voice, but still great. Question 11. Is it true that Elton John's voice has improved since he recovered from his bad cold earlier this year? Yes, I do agree. Some of the recent shows sound great. He's hitting notes more cleanly, and he's still going strong, at least to me, and definite improvement over earlier this year and last year, too. So, yes, I do agree. He improved. Um, question 12. Are there any favorite Utopia Live performances you enjoy hearing on the web or on your hard drive? I don't have any Utopia performances, and I haven't really seen full ones on YouTube. I've just seen songs here and there, so I can't really comment on that. But I'll check some out. Give me some recommendations. Question 13. Do you think that the pre-78 Journey material, when played by Journey live during the 78 to 80 years, improved when Steve Perry was in the band? That I don't know for certain, because I don't really listen to Journey stuff too much in the live setting. I mean, I've heard stuff from various eras, like a show here, performance here and there, enough to kind of squeeze by stuff. But I don't know, because I haven't heard the early stuff really played during that era. Who knows? Steve Perry was the best singer Journey ever had, so maybe it did improve. But that's just an uneducated guess on my part. So maybe you'll have a better view on that. Question 14. If you were Ian Anderson during the '84 Under Apps tour, what would you have done to save your voice when the Cold Nodules issue appeared? Yes, Ian Anderson's a sad case, because up to that era he had an excellent baritone, very cool voice. Liked his voice. And I had to get that kink out of my neck. Oh, two of them. There we go. And he had a great voice, but unfortunately, the cigarettes don't help, and the touring and the excess dates, and singing all this demanding under rap song stuff was not good for his voice. He ended up destroying it on the tour. Muscle spasms, laryngitis, you name it. Has not been the same since that happened at all. What I would have done was, the moment my voice started to go to shit on that tour, I would have postponed all the dates, rest up, go back out on the road, but alter the set list to make sure that the songs were not killing my voice. Switch some stuff around or take stuff out. Because by the time the tour hit Australia, the band switched songs out to make it easier for Ian to sing, but his voice was so far damaged that it wasn't helping, so it was too late for that. So I would have canceled, or at least postponed stuff the moment the voice started to go out, and then come back when it's rested and retool the set list. And then question 15. Imagine you were in a rock band and you had good singing ability. Your album is doing well on the charts, and one of the concert promoters decided, after doing a short tour of America, that you should tour Europe, Paris, Zurich, Germany, England, on a non-stop 14-date tour with no breaks in between. Would you accept this offer? Hell yes! The last thing I'll be thinking about is the voice. I want to go out and have fun on the stage, see the world, and enjoy the rock and roll lifestyle. And see the crowd atmosphere, and then after the gig, I'll listen to it and see how shitty I sound after no break and stuff. But I would take that in a heartbeat and say, yes, I'd go on a tour. I would love to do that. And then question 16, how many more years do you think Elton John will tour? Okay, he's slowing down. He wants to, see his kids grow up, go to school. I'd say he's got a few years left in him of, these small little tours. And he's been doing well on these recent tours, and he's been sounding good overall. And I'm enjoying the new album still. Well, I wouldn't say new now because it was released, a year and a half ago. But performances are still good. I think he's still got enough in the tank to do a few more years. And then if he does retire and his voice stays the way it is now, he'll be going out on a high note and, still sound good and stuff, for his age and what he's been through. So I think he's got a few years left in the tank. And then question 17. What do you think of Qasim Sultan's singing voice? I think he's aged great for his age, but I think that some of his singing pre-81-82 is a bit too raw. I prefer his voice around the Oblivion POV era, plus his solo singing around the mid-80s to the early 2000s. I haven't really heard too much. I still got to kind of listen to more to really, give a real answer to that. So I'll get back to you on that, but it's good to get your input on it. And then question 19. What do you think of Robert Palmer's cover of Can We Still Be Friends by Todd Rundgren? I haven't heard it, but I will hear it after this, so I'll let you know in the comments. Question 20. It's almost done. There's a few more left. Question 20. Have you ever gone to a Todd Rundgren concert before? No, I have not, but maybe I should. I heard great things about his shows. They're very interesting, and would love to hear them. And then, let's see, next one is, what do you think of Linda Ronstadt's singing, especially live between 79 to 80? Haven't really heard too much of her overall, so I can't really comment on that. Haven't heard any of her live stuff, really, so, I can't be a judge of if it's good or something, because I haven't heard it, so I'll get back to you on that one. Question 22. Are there any old-time Canadian rock bands that you or your parents like? Yes, I love Rush. I have all their albums, and I've seen them live in concert 3 times. I did get the Guess Who, got their anthology stuff, like some Burton Cummings stuff. My dad loves Guess Who and Burton Cummings, and he showed me his stuff, and I thought he was phenomenal. And Triumph has some good stuff, and some stuff from Prism. So, absolutely. And then question 23. Have you heard of any stories of regular people having a good experience meeting Freddie Mercury in real life when he was alive around concert time? Yes. At these Queen fan conventions I attend, there's people that have met the band members in real life. And, Freddie's been talked about, and all the stuff I've heard has been good. He signed stuff, he was nice, and, it was funny, and a pleasure to be around. So I've heard nothing but good things. So I was glad to hear that. Question 24. Have you had any real-life bad situations in a real-time concert setting where the lead singer struggles singing certain songs in the original key, or sounds bad but still full of passion, and getting, on the next page, getting the lyrics mostly right? Yes, when I've seen Kiss on those 3 shows I attended, yes, Paul Stanley sounded horrible, and it was very noticeable in that live setting, but he was trying, and he did get the lyrics right. So yes, I've had real-life situations like that. Also, to an extent, Jeff Tate on his Scab Queensryche tour of 2014, when he and the members of the real Queensryche were battling out in the courts about the names and the trademarks. Yeah, he wasn't, well, he was trying, but the voice wasn't there and stuff. But I had fun regardless. The You know, the meet and greet afterwards was my favorite part of the whole night. That was a fun experience. And then question 25: which singer do you prefer in Primsum, Ron Tabak or Henry Small? I would say Tabak. He's the first one I've heard, and he's got a cool voice. And then question 26: what do you think of Steve Augeri's singing ability in 2017? I haven't heard anything of him recently, so I can't really be the judge of that. I do know that he had some big time problems with his voice when he was towards the end of his Journey run. They did that lip syncing scandal, and I believe his voice recovered afterwards, but I haven't heard anything post that, so you'll be a better judge than me on that one. So then we have the next person on here is a very special person who I have to deal with, several times a month. Who I have to, listen to his Chicagoan or Chicagoan accent every time I do a fucking podcast with this guy. This is Mr. T from Germany, and he sent me a question. And I'm going to read it right now so I can answer it. And here's what Mr. T says. He says, it seems the general consensus is that Queen's Live Aid performance was their best one. Was that performance your favorite? Or do you like a different one? Well, that's a very good question, Mr. T from Germany. Um, it is true that that Live Aid performance Queen did is lauded as being one of their all-time best. Generally considered to be the best band that played at Live Aid. They were into it. They took it seriously. They rehearsed for a few days before. They went over, their hit singles and condensed their set into, hit after hit after hit after hit, and they made a really good set. And, they blew everybody away. They took it seriously, and they had their limiters tripped so they were louder than any other act. So that was a good little trick there. And it is generally considered to be one of their best performances, especially seeing Freddie Mercury on that stage, just owning that stage, dancing with the cameraman and Hammer to Fall, commanding the crowd to do the Radio Gaga claps and singing along with everything. And that is Freddie Mercury's finest 20 odd minutes right there. And he looks so badass up there. All he needed was just a white, tank top, wife beater, and a pair of jeans and Adidas sneakers, and he's good to go. And plus that magic little band around his arm there, that gave him some superpowers, and the mustache powers were in full effect that day. Um, it's a great performance. I love it. As far as the best one, well, it's hard to judge because you're comparing an epic 20 odd minute set to, hundreds of other performances where they were on stage, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. So it's kind of hard to rank this performance versus that performance just based off of length and stuff. Now, it's easy to say that some of the versions at Live Aid are the best versions of songs are among the best. Like the Radio Gaga is a flawless performance. Freddie's finest vocal live, arguably. Then you got the Hammer to Fall, which is generally considered to be the best version. Then you got, the epic We Are the Champions with all the choruses being sung in the original octave, and the epic Bo Rap medley section, the ballad section. So it does have some of their best versions of songs. Is it one of my favorites? Absolutely. Is it my all-time favorite? 80s wise, I would say yes, although it's a little hard to judge again because of the length there, because there's so many great shows they did in that era, or I should say that decade. There's some early game tour stuff like Oakland, and you got like Wembley and Brussels from 1980, and 81's epic South American journey, and then the Mexican gigs. It's hard to really rank, the favorites. It is probably in my top 10 favorite performances of Queen. As far as my absolute favorite, it would probably be Hammersmith 79. Not because it's the best Crazy Tour show that would go to the Newcastles, but because, Hammy was like the first thing I've, listened to unofficially all those years ago. It's always been a special show for me. Good quality, and you have a band that's sounding great, and Freddie sounding really freaking good considering it's the end of a tour. So I would say Hammersmith 79 is my favorite show to listen to, although there are better shows out there. Although I still would recommend that one, and I can understand why Hammersmith 79 is someone's. I think subscriber of mine, Joseph Staub, who is also on this list here of questions. I think that's his favorite show, and I can understand why, because it's just great. So thank you, Mr. T from Germany. That was a very good question. All right, now we go to Mr. Sam Cheshire, and I think that's how you say it. If not, I am so sorry, but English surnames are not my strong suit when it comes to me pronouncing them, so I'm sorry. But at least I got the first name right, Sam. First question, what is your opinion on the Queen edition of Monopoly? I don't have it. I've been kind of thinking about getting it. I think it would be interesting at least because, I've had the old standard version of Monopoly, sitting in my closet, and I've had that version forever and ever and ever. It'd be cool to get like a Queen version, although I wish they used the actual little figures of the band members to be as playable characters, but it's kind of goofy and cheesy, but it looks fun. I'm thinking about getting it, but not totally committed. Question 2. Is there the possibility of creating other channels dedicated to the Queen plus Paul Rogers concerts and the Queen plus Adam Lambert concerts? Abso-fucking-lutely. After I get the Queen stuff done, the available Queen stuff and whatever else needs to get done, there will be a separate YouTube channel. I made the decision to upload stuff on a different channel, not Gregsynthbootlegs. That is strictly Queen, 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 Queen. So no other plus or solo stuff on the Gregsynthbootlegs one. It's just going to be Queen related, the original band. But yes, there will be another channel. Don't know the name. Don't know if there's going to be additional channels or just one with the plus stuff or the solo stuff, but there will be something. I can guarantee you that. And then question 3. Is the Detroit 77 concert from the News of the World tour or from A Day at the Races tour? Well, it is 77. So that it's a possibility. Could it be Races? Could it be News of the World? And the date I know of from Detroit it's in November. So I'm kind of leaning towards News of the World on that one. But there's still a slight chance it could be from the Races tour. But I'll have to, look into some research for that one. But thank you for those 3 questions. All right. The next person we have is Christopher Mercury McManus. A name I haven't heard in a while, but I'm glad he's back posting on stuff. McManus. God damn, that sounds like a Game of Thrones character that needs to show up on Season 7, Season 8. All right, Mr. Chris. Your 5 questions will be answered right now. First one. Had Queen released a studio double album in Freddie's lifetime, what 2 albums that follow each other would you combine into one? Oh, Night at the Opera and Day at the Races. Smack them together and create probably the most epic double album ever. 2 amazing pieces of work. Combine them. I don't know how you would combine, take the track listing, put them in order, mix them up. I don't know. But that would be a hell of a double album. Then probably the best freaking double album ever. So I'd pick those 2. Question 2. If Queen had played Machines Back to Humans Alive on the Works tour, what do you desire to hear a 9/7 version of the song? Well, if I'm in an altered state of consciousness, absolutely, because that would make me feel so good. But if I'm in a relatively sober state of mind and somewhat sane, no, it'd make my throat hurt and my ears bleed. Man, Roger would have to sing the whole song. Fucking hell, man. Don't say that shit. You know, come on, 9-7. Just go away. Question 3. Do you think Montserrat Caballé should have joined Queen? Oh, that'd be fun, wouldn't it? I don't know, maybe a one-off guest appearance or something, but I can see the little cheeky little smiley icon there, but that would have been a hell of a fun session to have Montserrat in there. Question 4. On the Japanese leg of the jazz tour, to save Freddie's voice and to fit with the album name, what instrument should Freddie have used to play the vocal melodies on songs? The saxophone, the trumpet, or clarinet? Well, that's a good question. Well, the way Freddie was fucking squealing throughout, those sets, you can eliminate the trumpet because it's not brassy enough. It sounds more like a broken reed trying to be played on a clarinet or sax. So we'd go with the woodwind instruments there. I would pick the saxophone personally because I played saxophone when I was in school, alto and tenor. So I pick saxophone. And the type of saxophone, I don't know. I wouldn't pick baritone saxophone, not because, it matches Freddie's vocal type, but because, it'd be too low and rich sounding. It needs to be really unpleasant and really high and very squealy and shit. So we'd probably go with an alto or a soprano sax just to make it sound more like Freddie squealing. So we'll go with a higher voiced saxophone. And the final question. A moment you remember most that made you laugh while listening to a Queen bootleg. One that comes to mind is that hilarious metal screw vocal disintegration on the Tokorozawa show from '82. The We Are the Champions second chorus. That fighting is so hilariously off that I love looping it over and over again. And that never fails to put a smile on my face. Just how can a fucking voice imitate a piece of hardware so well? It's a kind of magic. That's all I can say. Thank you, Christopher Mercury McManus. Those were great questions. And then my favorite Danish person ever, a.k.a. the Great Dane, Mr. Simon Christensen, a.k.a. Setzer, asked the all-important question of, how you doing, people? I'm doing good. I'm doing very good, Simon. How are you? Now I flip the page over, and we have one of my favorite English people of all time. Or I should actually restart that and use proper grammar and said, my favorite person from Great Britain, or one of them. His name is Elton Bootlegs, and I love his accent. And he asks the all-important question that everybody that follows the Gregsynthbootlegs channel and the Facebook group knows. The question is, do you like 58 seconds? Yes, I do. Absolutely. I love 58 seconds. I love it on certain gigs. I love it on I Want to Break Free from the second Brussels show from '84. Oh, 58 seconds is a magical time stamp. Listen to any performance that's at least 58 seconds long, and I guarantee you the timestamp 58 seconds will be something interesting at least. So, yes, I love 58 seconds for sure. Thank you. Now, Mr. Joseph Staub, a.k.a. Stubby, what the hell is that nickname? It's a stupid nickname I gave you, but just forget about it. Mr. Joseph Staub asked me a few questions, and they're good questions, so I'll answer them. The first one is, what are your top 10 performances of Radio Gaga? Well, that's good. That's a good question. Well, number 1 is the Live Aid one, because that is epic. That perfect performance. Oh, you gotta hear it if you haven't heard it. And if you haven't heard it, something is wrong with you. Way more than me. Second favorite. Now this is where it gets tough. I would probably say an early Works tour version, maybe probably the first Birmingham one overall, because I would put Brussels and Dublin in there too, but there's like off moments here and there, not as tight, so they'd go down further. Um, and then I'd also nominate the Rehearsal to Live Aid, because that's got good stuff on it. Um, Also some other great versions. The Stuttgart one's pretty good. Okay, that's four of them. Um, that's four of them, and then I would probably put the second Munich show from the Magic Tour, where Freddie kind of goes a little bit above and beyond for the song on the tour and puts a little bit of an extra effort in there and does a pretty good job, in my opinion. And so I would put it like this. I'd put Live Aid as one. Then I would put probably the Rehearsal to Live Aid. Then probably first Birmingham, Brussels, Dublin. Those are 84. Then I would put Stuttgart, 84. Probably that one Sydney show from 426 is pretty good. And then the two Tokyo shows, the first two Tokyo shows from 85 would be in there, and then Munich. So you get those 10 versions right there. I'll have to probably rearrange them around a bit, because I'd probably switch them around as soon as I'm done with this. But I'm pretty safe to say that I would put those versions in my top 10 somewhere, with Live Aid being the top one for sure. And then let's see. The next one is, what show from the Jazz Tour do you hate the least? Well, there's a lot of shows I do like from the tour. Most of the hate stems from the terrible voiced Freddie on the Japan shows. But if there's something I'd hate the least, it'd probably be like the Landover 78 shows or those New York shows from 78, because everyone's great on those, and Freddie sounds strong for the tour, so I'd say those I'd hate the least. And also, Vancouver and Oakland 78 are very good. I don't hate those at all. Vancouver, Freddie sounds clipped, but he's okay overall. The band is some of the best stuff on that show, band-wise. The Brighton Rocks, so great. And the Oakland show is a great all-around show, too. So there's some great shows for you, and I don't hate any of those. And then next one, and the last one is, what songs from the Miracle and Innuendo would you have liked to hear live the most? Good question. I would say from the Miracle, I would love to hear I Want It All. Great rocker. And then I would love for them to play that one. Breakthrough would be great. And maybe Was It All Worth It as, an epic right there. And I think those three they'd pull off very well live right there. So those three for the Miracle. And for Innuendo, title track, Headlong, great. That'd be a great rocker. The Show Must Go On for sure. And then let's see. What the hell? Maybe I'm going Slightly Mad, because I want to hear Freddie sing those very low notes live and prove to people that he did use that lower range live on more than a few occasions. So, yes, those are my song picks. Thank you, Joe. And now we go into a user that lists over a dozen questions. And no, it's not Tony Salvo again, but it's Mr. Arthur Dent. And he's making a dent in my voice right now from all this talk. And just thinking about all these questions just makes my throat ache. but I'll get through it. His first question, which of the Japan 79 shows? Just kidding. Oh, you better. What are some of your favorite Queen Live moments? Um, probably the probably like on like Paris 80 where Freddie says Brian's got a big cock. That always makes me laugh. Some of my favorite moments would be, Freddie surprising the hell out of me with like the studio phrasing on like Newcastle stuff, going for that note, this note. Um, the surprise liar from Newcastle 79's awesome. Um, and then Live Aid being a favorite of mine. Uh, and then the You Take My Breath Away from Edinburgh 76 is a great live moment. And then some of those Brighton Rocks from the 78 Jazz Tour are fantastic Queen Live moments musically. So there's a few of my favorites. And then also Radio Blah Blah from the Magic Tour. First Vienna, Cologne. Oh, those are legendary. And those versions I would have probably put in my top 10 performances of Radio Gaga if Freddie didn't fuck the words up. But otherwise, those are great versions. Second question. Did Freddie hit the carry-on B-flat 4 somewhere other than Glasgow, Newcastle, and Hammersmith 79 and Frejus 86? Yes. The only one on recordings that he does is Edinburgh 82, the first night. He goes for it and he sings the note and then he drops it to a lower one, so he doesn't sustain it, but he hits it and then goes down. That's the only other version like that. And then at the Birmingham 80 show, the second night, I believe, Freddie goes for the same note, but misses it and hits A. So that's there's an attempt there. Third question: why did Freddie go for the carry-on B-flat 4 on such few occasions? Actually, there's more to this question. Sorry. He hits the B-flats in the verse perfectly so many times over different shows, but for the carry-on, he only goes for it a handful of times. That's a really good question. I would love to ask Freddie, but I don't think I'd get an answer too quickly, so I'll just do my best guess. My guess is probably because of the way the note is and the vowels and the way it's phrased, like the melody. It's difficult for him because obviously Freddie's on stage, he's a natural singer, but also take into account the nodes too, unpredictable. And if you try to go from like a mid fourth octave note up to a higher one without using falsetto, you're right around that tricky second passaggio. And if you're trying to carry your chest weight up into this higher note and you got nodes, it can potentially not work. So I think it was a confidence issue. But for the most part, when he did attempt it, it would be successful. Like that Newcastle one is awesome, and that Frejus one is a great one. But it's probably a confidence issue on that one. And probably for the why he hits the B flat so often in the live career, again, probably just the way he phrases it, the way the vowels are, like the now is a little bit twangy and an open vowel, so he can easily kind of belt it up there. But again, I'm just guessing on this one. But then I'm not Freddie. I don't have the nodes. I don't know what he was thinking, or I can't think for him, so I can only guess. I think it might have been a confidence issue, or it just depends on the day how his voice feels and how in his mood. So that's the best answer I can give for that. 4. Are there more recordings of the Crazy Tour? Well, circulating, there's only 4. You have the Glasgow one, and then the 2 Newcastles, and then the Hammersmith one. And then there's that crazy little thing called Love from the Bristol sound check, which is a great version. It is said and it's noted that there is a recording of Liverpool the first night out there. I sadly I haven't heard it. Otherwise, it would be on the channel, and I don't know. But I would love to hear that and compare stuff. But that has a known recording according to Queen Live CA. It's got the little tape icon. Uh, and then Manchester has one too. Again, those are the only two I know of that have that may exist or possibly circulating type deal, but that's as far as I know, really. But you just wait. When those get released, if they get released, if they actually exist, they will be right on YouTube with 500 paragraphs, and I would love to see comments on it. So I wish there was more, but say there's only 4 that are currently available to listen to, and there's 4 that exist. So, man, that tour needs more fucking recording, seriously. Question 5. Which studio album has the best vocal performance in your opinion in regards to tone, range, technique, style? For technique, it would be Innuendo. Because Freddie started these lessons of sort with Montserrat during the Barcelona sessions. She taught him like some tricks and techniques, mostly around the breathing and stuff. And me and Peter Freestone, we talked about that on our little 3-hour chat that's on my channel. But Montserrat basically told him how to use his breath support better and breathe properly and use his voice better, so and more effectively, I should say. So in terms of technique, the last 3 complete studio albums that Freddie's on, Barcelona, Miracle, and Innuendo. Those 3 are probably his best for the technique overall. For tone, how his voice sounds. I've always loved Power personally, but if I were to do a balance, I would probably say, surprisingly, an album that's not well liked or at least gets mixed reviews is Hot Space, because regardless of the material, Freddie sounds superb on the whole album. He's got a nice clean tone, powerful voice, clarity. It's a good balance of everything in there, and I think he sounds really good on that album. And I also like his sweeter tones on on his early work, and I like the News of the World tone too, where it's a mix of bit of a youthful voice and some rock and roll power coming in there. So that I've always liked those. And range wise, probably Innuendo overall. Style, it's a cross between the Innuendo stuff for the mix of everything, and a kind of magic for the powerful belting and distortion technique. And then another style I love is Freddie's really smooth, nice, light tones on like opera and races and sheer heart attack, and there's a lot of things I love about Freddie. And I think The Show Must Go On is Freddie's greatest vocal performance in the studio for many things. The range displayed, how he sings it, the technique, the control, the emotion behind it. It's an all-around amazing performance. Jaw-dropping, great. Love it. Good question. Question 6. If you could have a version of any Queen song from any album on another album, which would you pick? For example, In the Lap of the Gods Revisited, as if it were recorded in the style of Innuendo. That's a really good question. Taking a song from one album and putting it on another album in that style. So, That would be actually pretty freaking cool, you know. If I were to pick a song, why don't we take something from Hot Space? You know, a song that got the funk synthesizer treatment. There, let's take a song I love on there and let's say staying power. Let's give it the classic Queen treatment of 70s. Like, let's put staying power on, say, you know, maybe News of the World. You know, get rid of electronics, get it and make it a raw rock song. You know, I think that would be a cool tone. Um, you know, so something like that. Um, maybe you know, maybe hearing some of the later stuff, you know, like kind of magic songs in like a 70s style, like with like more elaborate vocal harmonies and more of the Queen, classic Queen sound. Obviously, different vocals because Freddie's voice in the 70s versus Magic are two completely different voices, so you'd have to like rewrite the vocal melody or something. But it'd be cool to hear 80s stuff done in the 70s style with the elaborate backing vocals and harmonies and overdubs. Um, Question 7. Imagine you could have any song recorded after the game performed on Newcastle 79. Which ones would you pick? If I had to pick one song, I would love to hear, I don't know, maybe The Hero because of that Essen 80 garbage. Because I can't believe the first fucking performance of The Hero is in the original key, and Freddie abandons the original melody almost completely, like right off in the beginning. He's like, oops, it's too high, and then you got Roger coming in there and saving the song. And I'm like, listen, I'm like, what the fuck, did they rehearse? Like, did Freddie know he couldn't do it, or did he think he could just do it, or did he not show up to rehearsals and thought he could wing it? I don't know what was going on there, but I would love to hear The Hero done Crazy Tour style, where Freddie would probably make a better attempt at singing the original melody, or at least not dive bombing all over the fucking scale. Oh, that's one song right there, right off the bat. I want to hear a crazy fucking tour version of The Hero, Newcastle style. That would have been the best fucking version of the song, with no octave dropping and no Roger coming in and going, oops, I gotta save it. The Hero is my one sole pick for that because, you know, that song overtakes all others. Um, Question 8. Which song from The Miracle and Innuendo, respectively, would you have liked to hear performed live the most? The Miracle, I Want It All, and Innuendo, that's a little bit of a tough one because there's three I have in mind. But I would probably say, for like the live stuff, translating live to the stage, I would say Headlong. Great fun rocker, would be amazing live with Queen doing it. Same for I Want It All. Question 9. Do you have a favorite Brian May guitar solo? You know, there's a lot that I really like in general that he's done. Um, there's a particular one, though, that stands out. And it comes from, of all tours, the Jazz Tour. Because to me, that's, you know, Brian May, one of Brian's best tours, if not his best tour for creativity and solos, closely followed by News of the World. There's one solo he does on Chicago 78. I believe it's in the Brighton Rock instrumental that is awesome and stuff. I mean, the stuff from the Brighton Rocks in late 78 are phenomenal musically from them. And also, I love hearing the guitar solo stuff from the News of the World tour after the White Man stuff. I think that's pretty cool. Question 10. How awesome is the B4 from 39 on Newcastle 79? Amazing. Love it. He hits it on both, too. both Newcastles have that note, and it's awesome and it's clean and powerful. 11. What's the best tenor C from Freddie in the live environment? Oh, god damn it! You're always asking about notes and stuff, which I like. Let's see. The best tenor C. Oh, he's got some good ones. One that sticks to mind is that high C on "We Are the Champions" from Monterey, '81. You know, I love the Live Aid version. I think that's the best version of the song overall. But in terms of the high C, no version has this high C quite like the Monterey one. It's like perfect. It's a studio quality high C. He like hits it so precise on the mark, and it's clean and it's effortless. It's such an amazing note he hits, and believe me, he's hit it other times, no doubt. On that song specifically, but that's the best one. And and it's just a great note, and there's also these certain high C's on "Somebody to Love," the live ones that he hits it a lot, and a lot of them sound really good. But there's a few that he hits so well, it's musically orgasmic on my eardrums. Um, there's a high C he hits on the "Somebody to Love" on this in 1981. Fucking hell, what? It's the Puebla show. The first night Puebla in the vocal in that introduction vocal solo he does where he does the somebodies, when he goes and hits the high C, it's like so good, and he does this amazing vibrato coming down, and it's one of his best notes on the song, the high C. Um, and it's a great note. So I'd say those two: the "We Are the Champions" C5 from the Monterey '81 performance, and then that high C from the Puebla "Somebody to Love" the first night. They're like two of my favorite high C's he's hit live because it's so fucking good. All right, good question. Question 12: Where on earth can I find a video of you singing? You mentioned some of your old vlogs, but I couldn't find one anywhere. Yes, I do some fun singing at karaoke's and stuff, and I've posted a few off performances in the Queen group when I, wasn't warmed up and I had an off night. It sounded like garbage, and it's funny to hear. They're in the Queen group, the Facebook group. There's a body language performance that's also on there. You know, I sang it against my free will, and I sounded like shit. And it's just, it's funny though. It is a funny performance. It's not one of my finest moments. It's bad. It's bad, but it's funny, so it's worth a listen. Um, and there's video to go along with it. I looked like such a dork and a dumbass on stage trying to sing that song. Oh. Question 13. What are some of your favorite artists other than Queen and Elton John? Ooh, good question. I love Rush. I love Slade. I love Kiss. I love listening to Van Halen stuff, Black Sabbath. Um, those are some groups I love listening to besides Queen and Elton John, and Iron Maiden, Judas Priest are also ones I listen to as well, and love those too. Love those groups. Um, 14. Your final question from Mr. Arthur Dent, and my cords are just about shot from talking so much. Um, what's your favorite Freddie Mercury song outside of Queen? That's it for now. Thank you very much for answering. Smiley face. Um, my favorite Freddie Mercury song. Let's see, outside of Queen. Well, Mr. Bad Guy has "I Was Born to Love You." That's my favorite off there. My all-time favorite that he's done outside of Queen is from that Barcelona album. It's "How Can I Go On." I fucking love that song. It's pop opera. I love the contrasting vocal styles, and I fucking love that song. "How Can I Go On" from Barcelona is my favorite Freddie Mercury solo song. or I should say song outside of Queen? Thank you for those questions, Arthur. And next user is Nikas Gamer. Um, the question is, do you think Freddie would have been able to handle the 3 or 4 proposed nights at Wembley for the Miracle Tour? I read somewhere that it was all being planned and they just kind of needed Fred's approval. Um, well, I would think that maybe for a one-off, one-song performance, Freddie could do it. But as far as a full set, no. I mean, by that point, let's see, Miracle Tour. So we're putting it in '89. Although Freddie did not look deathly ill right then. I mean, lost a lot of energy. No, he couldn't have done that. Even on his best, if even in his best health during that time, if he had a good day during '89, he'd probably be at best maybe doing 1 or 2 songs and stuff, but not a full set, not a few nights either. So no, I do not think he'd be able to handle it, unfortunately. But thanks for the question though. And then Mark BV has a few questions, and here they are. Number 1, how do you think that Freddie would have sounded on a Miracle Tour? Good question. I think he would sound really good. Not because I'm just throwing out a random guess, but because Freddie, took those lessons with Montserrat about the breathing and stuff. So I think he would learn more about how to get 100% out of his voice. He had better technique, better command of his voice, a little bit more of a disciplined approach. I think he would deliver some of his best singing. Now, this is if he's healthy and his voice didn't change from Barcelona to the Miracle. I think he would sound close to the Magic Tour voice. Actually, no, wait. I think because because he would do Heather. I think he would sound closer to Hot Space voice, maybe a bit more mature sounding. Maybe he'd sound more like that Time musical benefit show we did to raise money for the AIDS charity. I think he'd sound like that. I think he would sound closer to that, and I think he would be more gutsy with some songs, and I think he'd deliver some surprising performances. That's my take on it too. What do you think about the Glasgow '79 Borat version? Oh boy, this fucking thing is bringing up. I personally think that, except for the rock section, is just a perfect one. I mean, he nails the whole thing, and he does the original phrasing. At sometimes wish I'd never been born out. Okay. That is a great version of the song. Let's forget about that fucked up rock section. That's 50%. No, he hits it. 50% he doesn't. And remember, if he does hit it and find out he does, I'll eat a hat. But it is a very good version overall. Note-wise, it's very close to the record. Goes for a lot of the original phrasing. Goes for the carry-on. Nails the stuff in the verses. The Sometimes Wishing I'd Been Born All is fantastic. That's the last time on the available audio that he phrases it like that, the original way. I think it's a great version overall, and I'm not even talking about putting the rock section in there. So either way, it's great. So I can see why people love it. Third question: do you think that we will have more Crazy Tour concerts in the future? I hope. I mean, 4 is not enough, and I hope. My crystal ball is broken, so I can't gaze into it and say, ooh, what are we going to have here? But I hope something happens because, I mean, it's the Crazy Tour, Maybe it'll show up randomly when I have a long beard to the floor and I look like Albus Dumbledore. I don't know. But it'd be great to have something. Thank you. And then next Dave Rossonero. we have this. He writes this. Yee! I love you, Greg. 2 questions. Do you speak Italian? I deduced it to the final ciao. Yeah, because he was at that one video I did, the slideshow. Unfortunately, no, I do not know Italian. I just know ciao and some other word. Mamma mia or something. but I think like Buena Sera, I think is one. I probably just totally fucked it up. I'm sorry. But I know ciao is something I know, but unfortunately I can't speak Italian. I'm sorry. I just like saying random words in random languages. Question 2. Can you tell me why Queen didn't perform Somebody to Love at Live Aid in the Magic Tour? I can't tell you why. You'll have to ask the remaining members of Queen. But my guess is probably because of the limited time on Live Aid, and it's like the song would normally run 6-7 minutes, and you could do 2 songs instead of that one long one. So I think there was a time constraint on that one, or something to that effect. Magic Tour, it didn't make the cutting room floor for the Magic Tour after the Works Tour. So I don't know. Maybe they were trying to distance themselves from it to more of a greatest hits, stadium rockers maybe. I think Freddie would handle the song better on the Magic Tour, but I don't know. Maybe after that Works Tour, he was like, nah, let's put it away. I don't know. But I would love to hear Magic Tour versions of Somebody to Love. I mean, it'd be interesting to hear them. Thank you for those questions, Dave. Next person is Joel Wiedler. Do you think if there will emerge some early concerts from 1970 to 73 shows before Golders Green? And I was reading it just like it said there. I hope so. I mean, when you listen to a band's live recordings and you collect stuff and you follow a band, you don't know what's going to happen in terms of official recordings, or unofficial recordings, I should say, because something may pop up randomly. Like for Detroit 77, it just popped up randomly on Dime. Knew nothing about it. So who knows what'll happen. But if I see anything, people will know because I'll rant about it and upload it. So I hopefully something does emerge, because I would love to hear early stuff from the band. Thank you, Joel. And then this user, I'm sorry if I butchered this name, but it's a name I'm not too familiar with. It's Santi Rat. Okay, Santi Rat Poldi or something like that. I don't know. I'm sorry. I fucked that up. I know I did. Asks 1 question and then 2 questions. Is there a better before than the Liars before Newcastle? In terms of Liar, no. That's the best before you'll get on the song. If you're talking about the note in general, like if there's a better before live, there's sustained ones like the Spread Your Wings befores from the Crazy Tour, the sustained before on the Rocket performance from Phoenix 80, and stuff like that. I'd probably put in the same ranking or better, but in terms of Liar, that's the best before you'll get that we have on the unofficial recordings. Question 2. Which is the best C5 on We Are the Champions? Hammersmith or Live Aid? Neither of them. Hammersmith's is good. Live Aid is powerful, but it's not clean. Well, the coming down from it isn't clean, at least. The best one is the Monterey one. It's the perfect C5. The amazing C5. The Monterey one's the best one. Thank you, Santi Ratampoli. I'm sorry. Please correct me in the comments. All right. Next person is Tin Codex, or or tin codox or tin cocks or I don't know. I don't know. But this user asked two questions. First is, have you ever been to a Queen plus Adam Lambert concert? Yes, I have. Been to three. One in Auburn Hills, two in Toronto from 2014, and I'm seeing them again in a month at the Palace of Auburn Hills again. So yes to all that. Question two: what is your favorite tour? Um, Good question. Overall, I would say News of the World tour. Consistent Freddy, great sounding band, amazing set list variations, and a great set list overall. That's my tour I go to for the whole package. So there you go, News of the World. Thank you, Tin Codex. And the next person here asks 8 questions. And the person is Ready Freddy. So Ready Freddy, your questions begin now. What is your favorite version of March of the Black Queen? I would say the New York 76 version, the Beacon Theater. Tight as nails, great embellishment by Freddy. Question 2. Do you think that the other 3 even paid attention to whether Freddy hit the notes, like the B flat, 4s, or C5 in the Bo Rap performances? Probably not. I mean, they're so focused on probably playing their own parts and focus on the crowd and stuff. They probably at that moment weren't really probably paying attention. They were into the zone. Everyone probably listened to the raw recordings probably in the bus or limo. I don't know, but they probably weren't paying attention to Freddy on stage at least. But I'd be surprised if they did talk about it in the dressing room, like, "Hey, you hit that note at Newcastle, fuck off." That'd be pretty funny. Question 3: do you want more recordings from the North American Day at the Races shows? Yes, any tour is good for new recordings. I don't care if Fred's voice is gone or something. Anything new is fair game. Yes. Question 4: if we've just found Detroit 77, do you have hopes for other News of the World tour shows, such as Las Vegas? Yes, because there's another show that does exist on tape. It is a few days before Detroit. It is Providence. And hopefully that does surface. It's said to exist, and I would love to hear that. So, yes, I have hopes for something else from that tour. And, good question. 5. What are your opinions on the New York show from the game tour, the second night, the 9/29 show, and London 12/9, the second Wembley from '80? I think the second New York is a good show overall. It's not the best one overall. I would probably say the first night is the best version, or I should say the best show overall. But it's a pretty good show. That London show is also very good. It has the Imagine performance, so it's an emotional show, especially that performance. Overall, that's a good show. Some great performances overall. So New York, pretty good, and that London show, good to great. Question 6. What do you think was a better main set ender on the Hot Space tour? The Now I'm Here Dragon Attack Reprise or Tie Your Mother Down? Ooh, I would say Tie Your Mother Down. It just has that riff about it that, it's great to start a set, it's great to end a set. So, and I think Now I'm Here would work, works better either opening a show or somewhere in the middle. I don't think it works as well ending a set, to be honest. So I would say Tie Your Mother Down. Question 7. What do you think of Bohemian Rhapsody being played right in the middle of the show in Stockholm '86? Good question. Kind of a weird decision, to be honest. Not that I hated it or anything, but it was weird. Why did they move it? But glad it got slotted back towards the end. But weird. Question 8. What do you think would have been on a Miracle Tour set list? Good question. I would say songs from the Miracle. Um, I would probably think at least the hit singles would probably be played live. So you probably would get I Want It All, Breakthrough, Invisible Man, Scandal, and The Miracle would be probably played. And then also, I think what would be played would be obviously Bohemian Rhapsody, um, Tie Your Mother Down. At that point, I would probably think they've retained a couple songs from A Kind of Magic. So I'm guessing the title track to A Kind of Magic, maybe One Vision. So those two. So there's 9. Uh, Maybe Tear It Up to keep the set even heavier. So probably those 10. And then let's say we have 10 more songs, so a 20 song set. I would also think Under Pressure. Um, let's see. Maybe Now I'm Here would still be in the set. Radio Gaga. So there's 13. Um, Maybe Brian will do a Chinese torture section for Soul, so we'll count that. Another One Bites the Dust. Okay, got 5 more here. And let's see what else could be there. Oh dear Lord. We Are the Champions and We Will Rock You, for sure. God Save the Queen. And then throw in we'll add two more, I guess. Love of My Life, consistent. And to revive something, why not we throw in Somebody to Love just to revive it? So there we go. Put it in any order you want, but there's random 20 songs I would guess would be on that set. Thank you for those questions. Okay. The next person is Daniel Vasquez, I think. I'm sorry if that's butchered. First question is, where do you get all the concerts that are on audio video that you upload here? I get them from Queen Zone. Freely available for anyone to download. So it's not a special privilege I have. It's not something I have to ask someone to do. They're available for anybody. Just go on Queen Zone, download them. There you go. And so that's the honest truth. And I was reading that people were having trouble getting into Queen Zone, like it wasn't accepting new accounts or new users or something. So if you can't download the stuff, there's an Excel document saved on the sharing announce subforum on there. That you can click on the link there and it'll show you the available stuff in an Excel document that you can download. So it's there for everybody. Second question: do you like the change on Freddie's voice through the years? From the soft voice to the high voice to the low, powerful one. Or do you wish his voice had never changed? I actually would think I welcome the change, because if Freddie had stayed the same voice from the beginning of his career to the end, you would not get all those different variations of songs. You would not get the different styles he's done. He'd be a one-dimensional great singer at best. Fred's versatility in tone and phrasing is what makes him, at least to me, the greatest singer. So I dig the changes in his voice. I dig the feminine voice early on in his career. I dig the powerful voice in the late 70s, the rocker, more distorted voice in the 80s, and the innuendo voice. I dig all his changes because it's effective on each of the era's respective songs. And then he says, I think it was appropriate, the change on his voice, which I agree with personally. 3, what's your favorite Freddie solo song? A little bit of repeat. How Can I Go On from Barcelona. Well, I'll say it again. No problem. Question 4, how to beat depression. Now, I'm not a counselor, so it's best that you see someone that knows about depression, how to treat it and stuff. But because I don't have depression personally, so it'd be kind of awkward for me to offer advice and stuff. But my best thing is, talk to someone, whether it be a trusted friend, your parents, a counselor. Just talk to them and don't be afraid to say whatever you want to say. Get the load off your chest, because if you don't say anything, no one can help you. That's the best I can do. I'm sorry. And also, Freddie's vocals on Tokurozawa also can help a little bit too, especially the middle screw. Question 5: Why life is so sad and cruel? Well, I'm kind of reading between the lines here. Sounds like you're kind of not in a happy place here. Add me on Facebook or message me privately. We'll talk. But yeah, it's life has a lot of challenges and there's a lot of variables, and you can't predict how life will turn out. So that's pretty much my best answer for that. I mean, I didn't predict what would happen to my cat, but it is what it is, and I'm dealing with it the best I can. Question 6: What's your favorite food? I think that's it. Thanks for creating this channel and keep it active, man. So what's my favorite food? Oh, I love meatloaf. I love pizzas, and I love Mexican food. Those are some of my favorites. And then after that, after he writes, "Thanks for creating this channel and keep it active, man." Smiley face. Thank you. You're welcome. He adds, "Edit." Question 7. We have more. Do you like Adam Lambert and Queen? Or who do you think should be the lead singer of Queen? Or do you think Queen should stop making concerts and stuff? Wow, multi-part question. So I'll start with it. One, what I will say is I don't think Queen should stop making shows regardless, because yes, Freddie is no longer with us, but it would be unfair for fans that are in my generation and beyond to not see any incarnation of Queen live because of missing key members. I don't think they should stop making concerts until they say, let's retire. So I say keep going. I mean, they still got the chops and they're still doing great business. So I'm all for that. Do I like Adam Lambert in general? Well, I used to be really skeptical of him, and I did not like his early performances, like on the American Idol, doing the Queen stuff, and there was this iHeart Festival and thing he did a few years back, and then there was the 2012 concerts. I wasn't really a fan. I thought he was over singing way too much, really obnoxious on songs, doing a an irritatingly goaty vibrato, and it sounded like he was putting his own ability to the forefront, not letting the song speak for itself or the other members blend in properly. But he has improved since 2014 and has gotten better and better each year. So generally, I do like him. No, he's not perfect. No, he's not Freddie. He'd be the first to say he is not Freddie. But I generally do like him. I do accept him singing Queen. But if I were to say my personal pick to sing Queen in general, like who I would want to hear to, sing Queen songs, I have a lot of respect for Lambert. So I'm not putting him down or anything. I think he's doing just fine. But my favorite voice other than Freddie to sing, Queen songs would be Mark Martel of the Queen Extravaganza. He has the voice, in my opinion, to do justice to do a lot of that material. He knows alternative live phrasing similar to Freddie and nails the studio phrasings frequently. He naturally sounds a bit like Freddie. I mean, he's not an impersonator or anything. He's not a clone, but he sounds a little bit like him on certain spots, and it kind of makes you think, wow, he reminds me of Freddie. And he's got a great voice, great range, great technique, and he's getting better and better. And I thought he was great 5 years ago. So I mean, he's phenomenal now. So my personal pick would be Mark Martell. I think he's phenomenal. But good questions. And now we come to this user. This user is the I believe South Korean user, because I ran the name through Google Translate and South Korean stuff kept coming up. So if I get that wrong, I sincerely apologize, but I am not a foreign language expert or anything like that. I could not pronounce this user's name at all because it has like symbols and it looked like a key going inside a wall and some symbols I don't know. So I tried to translate that into Google Translate, and it gave me a name that looks like Osihong or Oshiong or something. So I'm going to refer to this user as Osihong Oshiong because I don't know. I'm sorry, someone correct me. And this user asked one question. It's, how many Crazy Tour tapes have not been released yet? God damn, another Crazy Tour question. There's only 2 I'm aware of that have a suspected existing recording, or it's out there but not circulated. It's Manchester and Liverpool. They have the tape icon on Queen Live CA, so they're out there somewhere. I don't know if they're collecting dust or I don't know. But there's only 2 that I'm aware of, and I wish I could hear these things because I'm starting to get a bit crazy thinking about it now. But thank you for that question. Next person is Danny Bertu, or Bertau. Well, the upgrades also include the new source of Tokyo 42479, which has been released by the Tarantula label fairly recently. Yes, I will get that up soon. So yes, it will include that. Thank you. Next user is Russian biathlon fan or biathlon fan. What's your top 5 father to son performances? That's a really good question. I love Father to Son. I think it's a brilliant song. You know, done live environment. I think that you know, there are some versions I love, and not sure on the order specifically, but I can tell you that the top 5 versions I would put in there would be you know, the rainbow version, the March rainbow version, and then stuff like Glasgow 73, you know, Birmingham 73, Manchester, Bristol, Liverpool. Basically, most of the 73 versions and Rainbow 74 from the March show would get into the top 5. Thank you. And now we come to a user that has asked 21 questions, and I'm gonna need a drink here because there's a lot of questions here. Yeah, I'm cracking open a second one I have sitting by my other one because it's nice and cold. Oh, it's fucking dripping all over the table. Hopefully it doesn't hit the question papers. Alright. Freddie is the champion. You got your 21 questions right here, and you'll get your answers. That's nodules I'm getting from Freddie going into my throat. Sorry. Question 1. Now for the real questions from me, because of the fake questions I was asked. First one. Why are you so gay? Well, because Queen is on the shirt. There's your answer. Question 2. Do you agree with me that Nickelback is an awesome band? Absolutely. Question 3. Who is a better singer, Steve Perry from Journey or Klaus Meine from the Scorpions? I love Klaus Meine, but I would probably pick Steve Perry over Klaus by a hair. But they're both amazing. And Klaus has preserved his original tone a lot better too. So points for him. They're both amazing. Question 4 is Get Down, Make Love your favorite song from the News of the World album? No, it is not. But it has a nice title. My favorite from News of the World would be tied between Spread Your Wings and My Melancholy Blues. 5. Why are you still not able to speak German? Well, because it's a fucking hard language. Simple as that. Ja. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. Question 6. Is Belgium a city? I never heard of that one. Never heard of that city. Question 7. Can you sing the melody of the Game of Thrones intro? Not really. I don't have the Games of Thrones voice for that. Maybe you do, but I don't. 8. Can you say the German word for squirrel? Oh, can you say Eichhörnchen, Eichhörnchen, or Eichhörnchen, or Eichhörnchen? Yeah, I said it multiple times wrong, but it's too hard of a word. Question 9. Any news from John Barrel McBear? Yes. He's working on more pictures, and he's probably doing some McBerry things. Question 10. Do you know that I'm amazed that you love me? Yes, James Knupp is classic. Question 11. Do you like Uranus? Yeah, I do. I'm proud of it. Question 12. Why do you like Bon Jovi? Well, because he needs fans. Plus, I liked his voice back in the day, and I like a number of Bon Jovi songs. Fuck off. Question 13. Do you like Freddie's birthday concert from '84? Yes, I do. It's one of the funniest gigs ever. And I love his experimentation with the new set of vocal cords he got for his birthday. Question 14. Which of the Works Tour concerts is better overall, Stuttgart or Sun City? Overall, I would probably say Sun City by a hair, and then I would put Stuttgart right behind it. Or at least in the top 5. They're both really good. So I'd say Sun City by a little bit. 15. Do you have a good friend in Wome called Biggest Dickus? Yes. Incontinent of whatever the fuck, I can't remember it. Sorry. Whatever. But yes, I do have a good friend in Wome. 16. Do you think that Gregorina is a good name for you? Yeah, it sounds Italian. 17. Do you like losing the Insanity Sauce challenge? No, I did not, because it killed my nose when I had to do the second part. But I liked that the winner of that contest had to expel all of the sauce and the chocolate milk onto my table, which went onto my computer and went on my floor. So, yes. Question 18. Is the News of the World tour your favorite tour by Queen? Not counting the Crazy tour, since we only have 4 recordings of it. Yes. Question 19. Do you enjoy watching Titanic and Legally Blonde? Yes and yes. They're both great movies. Legally Blonde's a guilty pleasure. Fuck off. Question 20. Can you give a shout out to the best air kicker in New Zealand? Hi, Isabel. Question 21. Would you like to do the Walk of Atonement? That was it for now. Auf Wiedersehen. P.S. Shame. Yes, I will do the Walk of Atonement, and I would do the Walk of Atonement to get Crazy Tour recordings. I will walk stark naked through my town of Waterford, Michigan, and just go right through there and want those crazy tour recordings, I will walk naked for as long as it takes because it just feels good. And I want someone to, come from behind me and ring a bell. In fact, I have a bell right now that I would like to ring for the Walk of Atonement. Shame! 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 There you go. There's the Walk of Atonement. Shame, shame, shame. All right. We have gotten to almost the very end of the vlog, but there's one user in particular who I had to save the best for last because he asked so many questions that I had to ring the bell to clear my head. Ladies and gentlemen, with 40 questions. That's right, 40. Not 14, 40. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Ethan Thompson Murray, a.k.a. EC Productions. Okay. Question 1. Have you ever tried putting your feet on your heart? Yes, and I've hurt my back trying to do that. I've hurt my chest and I've hurt my foot. I can't do it. Only Freddie can on Cologne 82. 2. Is it true that Japan 79 makes you orgasm? Hell fucking yes. Especially those whistles and Get Down Make Love. 3. Don't you know that I'm still standing better than I ever did? True. Question 4. Is it true that you love electronic drums from the Works tour? Abso-fucking-lutely. Question 5. 9/7/84 versus 9/21/84 versus 9/29/84. So we have London versus Brussels versus Vienna. They're all legendary for their own reasons. They all fucking suck. And the quality's great on all of them too, which is irritates the fucking hell out of me. Oh, and yes, have fun answering them. Oh, I am having fun answering that. They all suck. They're all funny. They got some of the funniest performances ever. Question 6. Who is Elton John? Who the fuck do I know? Question 7. Do you love me? You can guess. Question 8. Are you looking for a city? Yeah, in a way. Question 9. Is it true that Melbourne 86 has Elton's most greatest notes of his career? Absolutely. Followed by 9/14/86 from New York. Question 10. Can you shine a light on me? Yes, so I can see you. Question 11. Did you know that We Are the Champion starts off with the piano and vocal? No, I didn't know. Thank you for telling me about that. It's been a mystery for, tens of years. Question 12. Did you know that people from Manchester are called Manchesteranians? Hell fucking yes, I knew that. Question 13. Am I known you know? Not yet. Question 14. Can you ride your bicycle? Yes, I'll ride it into Japan. Question 15. What's the best Japan 79 show? All right. Different kind of question from you. Best one, well, we got half of 413. So at least vocally you got that. Best overall would probably be one of the Osaka shows. Because Freddie sounds relatively okay-ish, and the band sound great. So I would go with those two. Question 16. Brussels 84, second night versus Stuttgart 84. What the you know the answer to that one. Question 17. 12/4/79 versus 5/1/79. Oh, winner's better, so we'll go with Newcastle off of that one. Question 18. Do you want your freedom? Yes. Question 19. Is 58 seconds the best thing you've heard in your life? Yes. Question 20. Do you love 5-1? Depends on what 5-1 you're talking about. If it's 5-1-75, abso-fucking-lutely. If it's 5-1-79, then absolutely-fucking-lutely again. Question 21. What's the best song on 9/7/84? God Save the Queen. Question 22. Do you like hearing Freddie go for the third chorus in Detroit? 77. Yes. Okay, fucked it up, but still interesting to hear. Question 23. Can you pronounce Glasgow? Glasgow, 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 Glasgow. There's both ways. Question 24. When are you going to sing You Take My Breath Away karaoke style? When I know what the hell I'm doing and find a track. Question 25. Can you hit the F5 on All God's People? No, I can't hit anything like that. Question 26. Did you know that Freddie Mercury could sing? No, I didn't, but thank you for telling me that. Question 27. Do you like Himeji 76? What a fun fucking show. That's a fun listen to. Quality's amazing. Question 28. Do you like Fukuoka 76? Again, great quality, interesting performances of all the songs. Love Lazy on Sunday Afternoons piano and, the way the song ends with Brian's guitar experimentation. Question 29. Did you know that Milton Keynes happened on the 5th of June, 1982? Thank you. Question 30. Can you do an impression of me? No. Question 31. Did you know that Teo Toriate is a city? Mystery to me. Question 32. How do you relieve stress? By answering your stupid questions. Question 33. Who can sing better, you or Freddie? Flip a coin. Question 34. What's it like being American? It feels Americanish. It's, what's it feel like to be American? It feels great. I'm in my own place. Question 35. Did you know Freddie Mercury died in 1991? No, I didn't. I was only a tiny toddler at the time. Question 36. Did you know that Adam Lambert is the current singer for Queen? I didn't know that. I know there's Queen plus Adam Lambert. I didn't know there was Adam Lambert singing in the original Queen. Didn't know that. Question 37. Did you know that you wear glasses? No, I don't. Question 38. Do you like Victim of Love? What an amazing piece of art that is. Question 39. Did you know that Freddie Mercury wrote Bohemian Rhapsody? Now I know why that song is so good. Question 40. Did you know that John Deacon played bass guitar? No, it was a regular guitar, but it was missing 2 strings, so he played it differently. Have fun answering all of these. Oh, yes, I did. That's all the questions. And I had so much fun doing this vlog again. It's over 2 hours at this point, but I had fun doing it. I will see you guys next month. Now, if you excuse me, I have to go take some medicine, and I have to put my glasses back on, and I have to, go to therapy, and I just want to cry in the corner. Bye-bye. See you later. Adios. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao.